Har Har Mahadev, World Raisers, Sabina and Roger here. One more week to Mahashivratri, and we want to celebrate it with a few videos on Lord Shiva. Starting, well, we actually started with 2, but they are members only. So if you want to support this channel and want to learn more about Lord Shiva, please join us. If not, then let's dive right into the most important video for Shiva worshippers by Rava explanation by Rajarshi Nandy at the Ranveer Show.
Oh yeah, looking forward to this. We absolutely love these podcast episodes. So getting right into the heart and the truth of actual people who are experienced and knowledgeable and practicing what they're talking about. So let's dive right into it. If you're looking forward to Mahashivratri, hit that like button. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already. And let's get into this conversation.
I'm going to talk about how you introduced me to Kala Bhairava. A year before I met you, I'd gone to the Kala Bhairava temple in Banaras where things had shifted for me. And when I met you, you actually introduced me to something called Batuk Bhairav.
Yes.
Am I allowed to say the mantra?
Absolutely. No. But speak of Batuk Bhairav.
Okay. I have said the mantra on a previous episode.
Oh, it's okay. No problem.
Okay. There is a word in that mantra which goes Reem. What does that even mean? What is Batuk Bhairav? What are the Bhairavs? Because what I have seen shift in my life after I've started this mantra is a deep affinity towards Shiva. I've had dreams related to it. I've had very intense experiences in my meditation related to Shiva. And everything in my material life is moving too fast. Be it new people coming in, material opportunities, growth, everything you can think of from a material perspective has just become extremely speedy. And at the same time, I'm partially overwhelmed and I partially feel very capable and brave to be able to deal with the speed. This wasn't there earlier in my life. My whole 20s, I dealt with so much self-doubt. That self-doubt has just gotten erased to the degree where you can't even see, the marks of it.
I need the mantra.
That's the personal level input.
Wow.
What have you made me do, sir?
No, I did nothing. Whatever thoughts came, I told you. You did the sadhana and you saw the results. Why is dharma called Sanatan? Sanatan means eternal. That is because what was done thousands of years ago, the practices, if you do it today, still you will get results. And if 10,000 years later people do it, still they'll get results. It is not a individual's property. I didn't invent anything. I'm just an ordinary person going about my lives, ended up in your show. That's about it. It's the deities who do things. Be very clear. That also keeps your ego under check. The moment you start believing that I can do anything, somebody upstairs will start laughing. Okay. They just pull the rug from under your feet and all mera jitna vidya hai and all that whatever you know will start falling.
So even such an emotional and mental thing like self-doubt, which is so deep rooted, can be erased by the deities.
Yeah. So let's talk about Bhairav Baba. He's one of my favorite gods. Okay, he's one of my favorite deities because the first time I ever chanted a mantra was of him when I did not even know who he is. One of my first gurus gave me the mantra. And I had not the faintest idea who is Bhairav, what is Bhairav.
Are you talking about Kala Bhairava?
No, one form of Bhairav. Okay. He had given me the mantra and he said that jap karte raho. Okay, it was like an upadesham. At that time, I was more of the atheist kinds, had no interest, no idea, nothing of that sort. I kept doing. I remember for months I kept doing, nothing happened. Then one day I called him, nothing is happening. He's very elevated. He's obviously much more here than so he said that do one thing, do it in a more concentrated manner as a sankalpa. Sankalpa means you take some water or some rice grains, etc. and then you make a promise to the deity that so many days I'll do this mantra XYZ. And I took a very simple sankalpa, nothing else. Just say that so many days I'll do that with certain rules. Rules means same time I'll say it. Certain food habits changes I made at that time and all that. And I remember that time as a bachelor. So as it happens with bachelors, weekends means that you go out to drink. with friends. That's all. That's all there is in life. Nothing else is there. So 7 days, 5 days a week you work, and Saturday, Sunday is like the end of the world. Okay. So now I'm being very frank. How I remember. So at 10 o'clock at night I used to sit with that mantra, and it used to take me 1.5 hours, 11:30. So even I remember one of my friends asked me, ki, we are going out, would you come with me? I said, no, you guys go, I'll come. I'll catch up with you. Okay. So I finished that. I didn't have any expectations with it. I just thought that let me try it.
The best.
But by the 40th day, and I've spoken of this before also. So 40th day, I remember I was in Bangalore, I was having a cup of coffee, and then then I see 9 cars, one after the other, coming with the name Bhairava. And I was very stunned because I've never seen this before. And first 1, 2, I thought it's coincidence. When so many of them came, then this is like, you can't ignore it, that type of thing. But my mind was still skeptical. After that, I had a vision of a presence in my room. Bhairava. So, anyway, that's how my journey with Bhairava started, etc. Bhairava, the word actually means, there are 2 different interpretations of it. One is that it means terrifying. Okay. The other is that, but terrifying to whom? Why are you terrified of Bhairava? Because he is like that force which is absolutely naked. There are no conditionings. He has not put up any makeup. He has not done any. Digambara, the word that is used, who's sky-clad, which means that naked, is basically somebody who's unconditioned truth. If anything that I've realized in my sadhana of Bhairav Baba is that he loves truth. And he prepares, and the truth is the only thing that we are scared of. Everybody in the world is scared of truth, because somehow or the other, the mind tries to modify it according to your circumstances. Ki, no, this is what I like, and that. And I'm talking not just about your political affiliations or which football team you like. No, even in personal life, that's for everybody. We lie to ourselves before we lie to the world.
I had a bad breakup after I began Bhairava Upasana. Out of the blue.
Bhairav Baba, he takes you face to face with certain truths which your mind may or may not be able to, or which perhaps your mind is pushing to the background. Okay. His Vidya, the thing with his Vidya is, so a lot of people say that Bhairava is somebody who protects. Yes, he protects, but he makes you fearless.
Yes.
How do you become fearless? By facing your fears. Nobody in the world can become fearless by running away from fears. He is the one who will say ki it's like that military training. Ki jo cheez tumhe dar lag raha hai, I'll put you right there.
Yeah. Like this. Worst case scenarios happened. And then there wasn't.
After that, after a point, duniya jai bhar mein, you don't care.
Yeah, you become very emotionally blunted.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm a little too emotionally blunted now. Like, where I've almost become, I don't even know what to call it, but I feel a lot of ferociousness in myself now. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm just flowing with it as a will of.
So that creates, these are changes, certain changes that Bhairava can create in an individual. There is a very beautiful writing I was reading a couple of months ago. So some of the great masters, and when we talk of Bhairava, it is important to mention that the maximum amount of upasana, paddhatis, writings on Bhairava came from Kashmiri Shaiva masters. They were Bhairava upasakas. Okay, fantastic caliber Bhairava upasakas, a lot of them. And so Bhairava is, one of them defines it very beautifully. When you are scared of the world, when you are scared of Maya, okay, because the world has a Maya and you yourself have a Maya. Maya is your attachment. Okay, anything that you have attached yourself to is going to cause you some pain. That's the dictum of the world. And not just for you, that happened to the great masters, that happens to you, me, that will happen to people later on also. Whatever you have attached yourself to, that is generated a Maya.
The one you love.
Anything. Even your phone.
Especially.
They used to say that when you are tired of Maya, tired of this cycle of, summer and winter and rains and all this, abhi acha hai, next time again there is a sadness, same, again there is happiness, again there is sadness, these seasons are going on, you are scared of Maya. And when you are scared of Maya, there is a shout from within, there is a visceral, guttural cry for help that comes out from the sadhak, from the upasaka, from the mumukshu. Mumukshu means one who is eager for spiritual progress, but he doesn't know anything. So there is from within there is this cry that comes out. That is when Bhairava responds. He says that I'll take you to a state where these mayas will go away. I'll show you the reality as it is.
Very fast.
That depends. Fast or slow will depend on the person's purva samskara.
Okay.
If you have done something with Bhairav Baba in past lives, very fast he will come. Before I forget, I'll tell you that story.
Sure.
It's very interesting. There was this great yogi. A lot of people know of him. You might have heard him. One of the Nath yogis, Gorakshanath. Baba Gorakshanath. He was like an immortal yogi. He's an amsa of Shiva, they say. Okay. He was like a part of deities can send their amsas. Amsa means a portion of the energy into the human form. Okay. And those people become great saints or great yogis and guide a lot of people like that, etc. So once Gorakshanath, he was going long back, many centuries ago, he was going to the city of Ujjain. Okay. Avantika. And the king of that place, he was a great scholar and things like that. He had written fantastic texts and he had a lot of, as it used to happen with kings, he had a lot of women and many wives and things like that. Okay. So I'm telling you the overall rough story a little bit so that the gist of the idea comes across. So one of his favorite queens dies. Okay. Some incidents happen and queen dies. And he's terribly sad. Terribly sad means he's like, ho gaya, mera life is done. There's nothing else to do. I mean, this is the only woman I loved and she was the love of my life and etc. like this. So Gorakshanath sees this. Gorakshanath has a kamandulu. Kamandulu, you know, those yogis carry water, they will carry in that for achman and various other purposes. So it's made of. So he takes the kamandulu and he breaks it in the ground. Okay. And then he starts crying. Exactly like the king. Mera ye toot gaya, it's gone. It's like, oh my God, this is the thing I wanted. And the king got very pissed off. And he said, what are you doing? You think that, that thing you're trying to mimic me and mock me and all that. He said, no, I actually, that's the only thing possession I have and I love it so deeply. He said that, and then the king gets even more pissed off. He said, I am crying because my wife is gone. Okay. It's a human being and you are mocking me because of this kamandul. So Gorakshanath then tells him that, are you sure you really loved your wife that deeply? But I also loved you may have loved your wife, but I loved my kamandulu. For me, this is the most important thing in life. So by now the king is like really pissed. And kings, when they get very angry, they can kill you also. They can say, kill this person, something like that. They can be whimsical. So, but Goraksha tells him that, okay, if you really loved your wife, I'll put you to a test. So Goraksha had many occult abilities. Okay. So what he does is that he creates 25 women looking exactly like his wife and tells him that find out which is your wife. If you can tell me this is my wife of these 25 women, he had the ability to create these things. He was an immortal yogi. He was not an ordinary person. He was among the 9 Nath yogis who are immortal sort of. Okay. And the king is like stunned. 25 women exactly same looking, talking, same mannerism of speaking, sitting, talking, etc. And he is like clueless. What is happening? And then suddenly in his mind there is this brainwave like epiphany that happens. Okay, and he falls at the feet of Goraksha. And he says that you teach me what is the reality of the world. Okay? And then Goraksha gives him sannyas diksha and he leaves his kingdom and he becomes a Nath yogi himself. And then he writes beautiful compositions on Vairagya. He becomes a great Nath yogi. Vairagya is detachment. You detach yourself from the material world, you will get bliss of the spiritual world.
Yes.
But almost no one can have both of these together. If you are in the material, you will pass through pleasure and pain, now this, now that, etc. But this story I find very interesting and I find very beautiful because it demonstrates actually for us that you create, by your existence, you create a maya around you through your attachment. And that is normal for all people. But also, your true spiritual growth will start when from deep within you feel that nahi bahut ho gaya hai. There's a cry that will come out. In his case, it happened because because of the power of the yogi. From our case, others also for that matter, when there is a deep down, there is not resentment, but more like you are tired of the world. बहुत हो गया, सब देख लिया, everything. See, the same theme you will find in the first chapter of the Gita is Arjuna Vishad Yoga. Vishad means he's in a state of depression. He's confused that these are my relatives. अभी तक तो there was full jingoism of what करना है सब कुछ है. At the moment he's confused. These are my relatives. Okay, he doesn't know. So it creates a dilemma in the mind. You are tired. You don't know what the hell it is. And then you look for somebody who's more intelligent and wiser and more capable. Ki, boss, tell me what it is. And then there is the whole Gita that flows. Okay. And after that he tells him, no, you have to still fight because this is destined. This is dharma. You cannot escape from dharma. But you fight with a degree of detachment. This is the crux of all spiritual practices at the end of the day. Even if you read Yoga Vasishta, which is one of the most beautiful texts, it starts off this way, that Lord Rama is having conversation with Rishi Vasishta, and Vasishta is explaining. Vasishta is his Kula Guru. But Rama starts off this way, that I have seen all the women, I have seen all the wealth, I have seen everything. I have no attachment to what is. I am tired of all this. What is there? What is beyond this? And then he goes into a deep conversation and discussion on the spiritual aspects, sab kuch, everything is there. At one point, when the soul becomes tired of Maya, then this, as I was mentioning, this cry comes out. And it may not be a loud thing. It's not something that's audible also. Something that, there is this desire from within. What? I've seen all this. Is it all that there is to the universe? Is there something beyond this? And that is when Bhairava responds. He says that, okay, I'll show you what is beyond this. But to go to class 10, you have to leave class 9. You cannot keep attending the class 9 and class 10 and still go to class 10.
I saw the video you did about Kala Bhairava Upasana. You said that one of the tests for your Upasana being successful, your prayers to Kala Bhairava being successful, is that dogs will be drawn to you.
Yeah. So dogs are very interesting creatures. Dogs have an instinct for loyalty. Other animals also have it, but dogs have it more than others. Okay. And see, Bhairava Vahana is considered as a dog. Okay. Dogs are basically, if I remember, I had read somewhere, long back, I think wolves or whatever, they domesticated and became dogs. Okay. From the time when dogs started living with humans, perhaps there is no other creature that has lived with humans longer than dogs. Okay. Consider that is when Bhairava decides that I am going to help this species. Okay. And the other thing is that a dog is a guardian, sort of. If you have a dog at home, if there is anybody who's disturbing anything like that, he will figure out, etc. One of Bhairava's typical instincts for an individual is that apart from the core tattva, which is that he makes you fearless, he also guards you very fantastically. He guards you from, even if Bhairava's blessing is with an individual, if you are supposed to go down into some negative pitfall, etc., he is the one who can pull you out of it. And that's what I tell people, that Bhairava is the only deity who can pull you out of a nightclub and make you sit into a meditation room. Baki log to jayega hi nahi uske andar. It's already too corrupted place. They will not go. He will go there. If he likes, he will pick you up from there. Even if you cry and do whatever, baitha dega tumhe meditation mein. He is the one who can do that. Okay. And I've seen that happening with people.
Back on the cushion.
Let's stop here for part 1 of 2. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Oh yeah, we could listen to this guy all day, right? So I love you could just see his devotion and his wisdom and his knowledge and his experience, right? So shining forth, he's speaking from confidence and understanding. So he's obviously done the practices. So I love that story about, taking him out of the nightclub, right? So he had the plans. He was very much a party boy back in the day. So we've all been there. And then, but just had that longing, right? So, and then you make that commitment, right? So me and Sabina have done our meditative practices and pilgrimages. So we know all about that. And even for Mahashivratri last year,
and the year before.
Yeah, so we got into that mode, and then you commit. Yeah. And it's that committing to the meditative task, and then whichever deity you're focused on, or even non-deity, just the inner self, if you're doing like a Buddhist practice or whatever the case may be. So it's it's your intention and your frame of mind and your commitment and dedication to a goal, but at the same time not having any expectations, right? So you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, and then experiences will arise, right? So, and then I loved Ranveer's explanation about how his practice just totally transformed him really, really quickly to this fearlessness. And even though life is spinning out of control, there's so many things happening, he knows that he can handle it, right? So there's very much a surrender in both of these gentlemen.
Yeah, wow.
So they understand spirituality to the degree that they even know, like even the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is saying that, explaining the modes of material nature, right? So we're not identified with this being as me, like solidly and rigidly. We're understanding that the destiny and the actions being played out, this is like a character in a role, right? So from a higher reality, there's an observer witness consciousness, right? So you're being both, you're being all of it at the same time, and you're allowing this behavior to unfold. And then of course it's gradually going to become more and more pure, and then things are going to flow, right? So what Ranveer is talking about is very much like, manifestation and allowing for divine things to come into the world, right? So he's talking about like deals and wealth and opportunities and flow, and it's busy, but it's not totally overwhelming, so you adjust. It's crazy. So for people who aren't on the spiritual path, for atheists, agnostics, or even, well, it still depends on your frame of mind, right? Either you're going to go through life very pessimistic and judgmental and negative and withdrawn and down, and even no spirituality at all. It's going to lead to a different outcome than somebody who, let's say, not spiritual either, but holds in mind higher things, right? Like optimistic, determined, go-getter. So these attitudes that are vibrating at a higher level of consciousness, right? But you bring in a deity who represents that and who is an energetic field and a reality within the infinite field of consciousness, and you tap into that energy as inspiration and source and tuning into it and like contemplating and meditating and visualizing, that's going to affect your being, right? So then this higher energy field is going to be able to flow into you and into the world and create opportunity and impact and understanding, right? So like he's saying that you can't be in grade 9 and hope to enter into grade 10. You can still enter into grade 10 knowing that you're not just going to totally dissolve. There's still going to be a being here, but you're not being attached to it. So it's even detaching from the very concept of I am this, right? So you're letting go of your judgments, opinions, even though from wisdom and intellect they can still be there. You still have to operate. So anyways, it sounds like they're really getting at detachment or non-attachment, but at the same time you gotta be, and you gotta be aligned, right? So that's why I'm always on board with anybody who has a deity in mind, which is why like even Christians, for example, if they really tap into the energy of Jesus Christ, they could be very loving, compassionate, caring beings in the world without any sort of ulterior motive that they have to change or convert people, right? So it's very much in tune with ultimate reality, and whichever deity works for you, by all means, go all in, right?
Go all the way.
Fantastic.
Nope, I have nothing to add. Sorry, guys.
You don't know anything about your meditative experiences and connecting with... So Sabina's very devotional towards the Buddha. That's part of the reason why we're together. I was very drawn to her devotion when we were in Buddhist meditation retreats together. And especially, coming out with Dujam Rinpoche, right? So this connection that transcends this lifetime. You can see it, right? There's just this real heart connection. And then very many other Buddhist teachers and deities, right? Yeah. So you want to talk about that at all?
Talk about it? Oh boy. I don't know. At the moment I live such a different life. It's almost like it was in a different lifetime. But just hearing him speak is just, it's balm for the soul. That's so beautiful, and just reminds me of I gotta listen to more teachings, because as much as I love my life right now, there is it could be more meaningful. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there's always that inner longing for
Yes.
spirituality once
Yes.
you're on the path. Yeah.
Yeah, for a higher level, for a better connection with the Lord.
Yeah. So your devotion, so some of our regular long-time viewers, yeah, you see this devotion coming up in Sabina, even in regards to Krishna, for example. During the Mahabharata, when we watched B.R. Chopra's epic on this channel, there was a deep connection, and even towards Bhishma, for example.
Oh.
So,
Well, Bhishma, I know, was on another, it was different. I
Well-
mean, I did not...
but he's still having this role of wisdom, understanding, and truth, and his devotion to the highest, right?
Yeah.
He's still
yeah.
shining forth, but he was still stuck in his role, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So with Bhishma, it was more like I was identifying with him.
Yeah.
So that's why all these emotions maybe came up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Bhishma.
Yeah.
Oh God, also another lifetime. But yeah, wow. God, we've been through so much on this channel. It's like we're celebrating the channel's 4th birthday in a couple weeks.
yeah, so devotion, commitment, dedication to your spiritual growth is ultimately what's important. And I also really just want to touch on the initial longing, right? Where you're screaming and you're in agony, and then you're actually like, what's going on here, right? So that's kind of like the pitfall where you get into this suffering, right? And then you got to seek, to get out of it, right? So, yeah. If you can relate, let us know.
Okay.
And let's get on to part number 2.
We'll see you there.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks, guys. Peace.